guys, and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Greg, and I will be giving you my predicted lineup for the Man City game this Saturday. The last one of these I did was for the Bournemouth game, which we went on to lose. In that video I said a couple of times we started to cement the team and we don't need any big overhauls or experiments in the team, we just need to let things start to work together, and I have to do a complete U-turn from that now and say we're probably in a period of a bit of turmoil where we've now got a bit of a question over who our best right back is. We've got a bit of an issue in the centre of midfield where Gbamin and Gomez, who are our only two injuries for the Man City game, are out. In my opinion, our two most talented or most crucial central midfielders. We've got a question still over who's going to play striker every game, and I'm going to throw in a little question as well about who will be our central attacking midfielder, our number 10 for this game. So this video will be a bit more up in the air than a few of the other ones I've done, and it's also our first game against the Big Six, which gives a whole nother dimension to how this game's going to look for us as fans. It's our first view of how we can perform against those big teams. Obviously, we ended last season with great form against the top six, so it'll be interesting to see how we build on that. If we've got any sort of mentality shift that says actually we can press on against these big sides, or whether we'll revert back to that sort of meek performance that we used to put in against the top six sides. Also, with it being Man City we're playing, I reckon Marco Silva has a bit of a licence to experiment, I think. I'm not one of these people who wants us to lose against City, let me put that out there as the most important thing. I'd like us to attack this game as much as possible, but I think if we do lose, there is more of an onus on City's quality than Marco Silva's tactics. I think a lot of people will have written this game off as no points in their head. So if Marco Silva experiments a bit, maybe he's got a bit of a licence to do that. So that said, let's look at the team as I think it might play out for Marco Silva. Let's go player by player and just see what we think. So I imagine Jordan Pickford will start in goal. That's almost a given. And Keane and Mina, I imagine, will carry on as a centre-back partnership. There's slight talks for Holgate to come in as a centre-back, with both of those players, Keane and Mina, playing a lot of games. And obviously, if one of them gets injured, we're in a bit of trouble. But I reckon Keane and Mina will start as centre-backs. Luca Dean as left-back, I reckon, is nailed on and should be every week. But the big question in the back line is that right-back position. Will Coleman start or will Sidibe start? Sidibe had a good game against Wednesday. His crossing looked very good. Obviously, he got an assist for Calvert-Lewin's, I believe it was the first goal. And that's quite crucial to how we play at the moment. We rely a lot on our full-backs crossing the ball in and trying just to overload the box. It's not my favourite facet of Marco Silva's game, but Sidibe seemed to fit it better than Coleman does in terms of delivering crosses early. That said, I think Coleman will start. The experience, the captaincy. Sidibe, we've only seen him against lower level opposition, lower tier opposition. So I think sticking him in would be a bit of a risk against a team as big as Man City. But I do think it's important we start phasing him in a bit more. Coleman's legs are starting to look a bit more weary, almost as each game goes on. So for me, Sidibe starts to... the other thing about Sidibe is, if I go on a bit of a tangent here, we want to see him prove himself as much as possible before his loan deal runs out. I mean, it's all good him being a backup on loan, but if we want to ask the question at the end of the season, do we want to buy him permanently? Because I believe we do have the option to do that. We want to ask, what have we seen of him this season? Is he good enough to be the replacement? And we're only going to find that out by giving him games in the Premier League. So I think we do need to start phasing him in, but Coleman gets to start for me this game. Then the midfield is the big question. As I said, Gbamin and Gomez are our only injured players, but for me they're the two most crucial central midfielders. So Delph will obviously end up starting, I reckon. He's our experience in that midfield, we know how he plays. And this is where I'm going to make a more controversial shout. I think we will revert back to the formation we've been seeing. I don't think we're going to see that flat three in the midfield that we've been hoping for. I think it'll be the 4-2-3-1. But I think he's going to drop Sigurdsson back a little deeper, or I would like to see him drop Sigurdsson back a little bit deeper to play next to Delph like he did. The one example that comes to head, obviously, is the game he had against Leicester last season where he scored that unbelievable goal. Because I think he can have a bit more influence on the game from back there. We don't rely on him for everything, for all the play to go through, and it allows Iwobi to play that number 10 role. I think where we played Sheffield Wednesday, we got a taste of what Iwobi and Bernard playing together could be like, and that was the exact combination that set up the second goal for Calvert-Lewin. So I think Marco Silva wouldn't have experimented with those two both playing if he didn't think it had legs for the future. I can't imagine he was unhappy with what he saw, but we still should have Sigurdsson playing. I think he is a crucial player for us. So, in my opinion, this is the perfect game to experiment. Delph and Sigurdsson as the two in the midfield, the sort of flat two in the midfield. And that being said, that means Iwobi is then free to play the number 10 position and sit just in front of them. That's what I would like to see. I think he looked good there. Why not just see what can happen if we do things a bit different? I think we've relied on Sigurdsson in that role for too long now without sort of testing it, seeing if we could be doing things a bit better. So let's just give Iwobi a little bit of time in there and see what happens. Then it comes to the wingers, and I think we will see Bernard is sort of untested if Iwobi's in that number 10 position, so he will obviously be playing out on the left. I still love the connection he has with Digne. I think that's almost our most lethal point of attack, that left side, when Digne and Bernard are overlapping. You don't know who's going to cross. You don't know who's going to burst past. So that opens up that avenue again if Bernard's out left, and I reckon we'll see Richarlison out right. He's had a bit more of a kick on in form since he started scoring a few. And then the question here is who starts up front. Calvert-Lewin probably started against Sheffield Wednesday with the intention of Keane then starting in the league and having fresher legs. But obviously he's gone ahead and scored 2 goals and proved that he does still have the goals in him. He can be the focal point for the attack. So I imagine Marco Silva will give him the nod to start over Moise Kean. So that's where I would be lying with that one. Dominic Calvert-Lewin starting up top after what he did against Sheffield Wednesday. So that being said, that's my team. Pickford in goal, Coleman, Keane, Mina and Digne making up the back line. Delph and Sigurdsson holding with Iwobi just in front of them. And then a front line of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Bernard. Now that's a bit different. I think the biggest point of contention would be Sigurdsson dropping back in the midfield. So let me know if you guys think that's a good idea or a bad idea. Would you still be pressing on with Keane starting up front? And also, do you expect to get anything from this game, or are you taking it as a let's see what we can do against the top 6 sides? Let's see if we can experiment a bit, and let's see how well we can attack them. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time.
No, no,